Once sir enters, then you all can stand up and give a round of applause. He's around me, so give sir a round of applause. I request everybody to please occupy their respective seats on dais. Sir, please. An exuberant good evening to all the dignitaries present on the dais. August gathering. In the session, 30 years of India-Israel relationship ahead, organized by Rabindranath Tagore University and Young Thinker Forum. It's a matter of pride and privilege to have the gracious presence of Honorable Kobi Shoshani, Consul General of Israel to the Mumbai. Sir is the official representative of State of Israel in Maharashtra, Gujarat, MP and Goa. Give him a round of applause and welcome him. With Sir, we have the benign presence of our own respected Honorable Chancellor Sir, Santosh Sir. Please give him a round of applause. Also we have on dais Ashutosh, Coordinator, Young Thinker Forum, our respected and past Sir, Educationist, Vishwas Sir, who will be joining us soon on this dais. I, Dr. Sangeeta Johari, Pro Vice Chancellor, Rabindranath Tagore University and Dean, Faculty of Humanities and Liberal Arts, extend warm welcome on behalf of the entire gamut of our university. To impart the affectionate welcome to our guest of the day, I request our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Vishwas Sir, to please present a token of love in the form of flowers to our guest, Kobi Sir. Sir, please. Also, to give him the heritage of our university, copy of the book. And as a token of respect, हमारी भारतीय संस्कृति में शॉल एवं श्रीफल along with a symbol of great supersanction.
So you might be, one of the zero fees were this one.
Thank you, sir. I request Vijay Singh Sir, Registrar, Rabindranath Tagore University, to please give the floral welcome to our respected Honorable Chancellor Sir. I now invite Nitin Sir to please give IPSC Director and AIC Director to give the floral welcome to Young and Dynamic Ashutosh Ji, Coordinator, Young Thinker Forum. And I also request Sir to please give the floral welcome to our dear respected Amitabh Sir. Sir, please. So, Ashutosh Ji is from Manage, so he's from the similar college where our Honorable Chancellor Sir took his entire study, so that effect is also there.
We call him senior's boss.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a boss.
Obviously, the seniors are always the boss, no doubt about it. So, thank you, sir. To proceed with the session, When we talk about Rabindranath Tagore University, started in the year 2010, and since the inception, there is no look back. Our university is working with a vision wherein we are covering up all the facets, be it skill, be it entrepreneurship, be it culture, and be it the global linkages. What to say more on this, but we can say that we are aligned with all the UNDP and the SDGs, and we are trying to give the holistic development to the youth of our nation, and also now we have reached to the international level too. To give more insight about our university and its parent body and what we are planning in the future, and also to give the formal welcome address to our guest of the day, I request our Honorable Chancellor Sir to please come on the dais and say a few words on this. Sir, please.
Our today's guest, Honorable Kobi Soshani ji, the Consul General of Israel to India, friends of the dais, Amitabh, Ashutosh, faculty in front of me, and various other friends who have come from the city to join this session. I welcome you all to this very prestigious and one of the topmost universities of India, Rabindranath Tagore University. एक वाक्य हिंदी में भी कह देता हूँ क्योंकि हमारे जो गेस्ट आए हैं उनका स्वागत हमारी भाषा में भी होना चाहिए। तो मैं कोबी सोशानी जी का इस बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण और बड़े विश्वविद्यालय में बहुत बहुत स्वागत करता हूँ। एक बार तालियों से। Sir, as you were mentioning, Tagore was an icon. He still is an icon in India. And this university has adopted two such greats of India. One of them is Rabindranath Tagore, and our other university is in the name of C.V. Raman, who was the physicist and who also got the Nobel Prize at that point of time. That also in a way represents the philosophy of the university and the organization. While we want to excel in science and technology, while we want to excel in entrepreneurship, we also want to be culturally sensitive and language sensitive, and the diversity of this country is respected here. That way, we want to create individuals who are balanced individuals, who have a scientific perspective, but who also have a lot of pride in their own heritage and a lot of pride in their own culture. When we were talking in our roundtable conference, he was saying that in Israel there is a street called Tagore Street, and it's a very costly street, and he had a dream to live there in that street. Well, Tagore here is a cultural icon. His poems are read, his plays are enacted, his stories are read, his novels are kind of read in the beginning itself of your study. And Tagore has kind of the cultural heritage and the balance in cultural heritage tilted towards Indian and Indianness in our university. This university has excellent centers kind of background. We have research background in 9 excellence centers. They are in topmost areas in our country. We work with the defense research in the material science area. We work in agricultural research. We work in skill development in a very big way, conforming to the dream of our Prime Minister. We work in the area of energy. We work in the area of water. And these are the modern, socially connected areas in which this university has been excelling. We also have a great translation center and a center for international languages, which teach many international languages, and thus also the translation from international literature to Hindi and Indian languages and vice versa. A little bit about the background of the organization. This organization, which is parent body, is called All India Society for Electronics and Computer Technology. This was formed 30 years back and focused on the rural areas, transferring IT to rural areas, and there were models which were created for suitable to the rural areas. Presently, we have got about 20,000 such centers all over the country, and these are the training centers which are spread in about 27 states in the country. And this network forms the backbone of this organization, which has set up the universities. So we have 5 universities that are present in India. Madhya Pradesh has 2. Another tribal state, Chhattisgarh, has 1. Then we have 1 in Bihar, and we have 1 in Jharkhand. All of them work together, and finally we have arrived at an incubation and startup center, which is also promoting entrepreneurship for the students in the universities. In the course of time, we have been working on the various cultural initiatives, and the present initiative is called Vishwaram, Global Cultural Festival, in which more than 50 countries are now participating. And they arrived here in Bhopal in 2019. Last year it was done on a virtual platform, but it has now connected over 50 countries and about 1,000 artists from all over the world, and a large number of groups who are working in Hindi languages outside the country and also in their own languages. This has provided us a platform for internationalization of this university, and I find that Tagore is an icon almost everywhere. It was a great insight on the part of the managers in this university to adopt Rabindranath Tagore as their icon. I find that in Oxford there is a Tagore bust. I find in Australia there is a Tagore bust in the topmost university. In various places, Tagore immediately provides the kind of connect which international community requires. And as you told us, there is also a Tagore street in Israel where we can, and that is the costliest street in the state. Sir, we are looking forward to technology exchange programs, as Siddharth was saying just now. Maybe an excellent center for drone technology, which Israel is excelling. We also look forward to the agricultural exchange programs. We look forward to maybe IT and such technologies which are pretty good in India, and the student exchange program and a cultural exchange program, which should be on the plan for the next few years. So this is in a way a short introduction to the university. This is one of the top ranking universities in India, and I am very sure that we will find in due course of time various areas of collaboration with Honorable Kobe and his consulate. Finally, on behalf of all of you and on behalf of our universities, I once again welcome you and all your friends who are coming here. Thank you so much, sir. And I also welcome the Young Thinkers Forum, who are doing a lot of young thinking in India, and they are doing great work. So we also want to thank Ashutosh and all of them. It turned out that Ashutosh is my junior in my college, so that is a special affinity for me to Ashutosh. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. So I think these are all 5 universities which are working under the leadership of our Honorable Chancellor, sir. So I believe that we should give a huge round of applause to such a dynamic leader who always thinks ahead and gives us some inspiration to move on. I also would like to acknowledge the benign presence of Professor V.K. Verma, sir, who is among us, the Chancellor of ISEC University, Vaishali. Give him also a round of applause. I also extend welcome to Dr. Arun Joshi, sir, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Senior University. And I also extend welcome to Dr. Siddharth Chaturvedi, sir, who is Pro-Chancellor, Rabindranath Tagore University. As I said, Young Thinker Forum, the name itself suggests that young minds, creative minds, and now they are doing great job, as Sir is saying, that they are really getting creative and making others to creative to come forward to change the face of the nation. So I think it's time now to have the introduction of the theme and also a bit about what exactly the Young Thinker Forum thinks and what exactly they aim to. For this, I would like to call Professor Anugraha Nagich from Young Thinker Forum to give us the gist of the Young Thinker Forum and also about the introduction of today's theme. Sir, please.
Thank you very much, madam. A very warm good afternoon to all the participants. I am Anugraha Anil Kumar Nagich. I am currently a faculty at the Department of Architecture at Bhopal. Again, Santosh, boss, and all of us share the same alma mater. And I have also been heading the academic team at the Young Thinker Forums. So before we go ahead with today's discussion, I would just like to provide you a brief background about the Young Thinker Forum as well as today's confluence of ideas, thoughts and very interesting experience that I assure you all of you would be having in upcoming few moments of time. So Young Thinker Forums primarily is a colloquium, or you can call it in easy words a think tank, which is primarily working for giving a direction to the potential that the youth of Central Indian region from the states of Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, some parts of Rajasthan, Uttar Pradesh, to channelize the potential of all those youth living in these areas. Young Thinker Forum is kind of doing amazing work, and I would rather say inspiring work, by presenting them with different viewpoints, with different ideas, different narratives, with the help of experts who are invited from both the national and international level, so that the youth can start to think in the right direction. And as we all know very well, that it is in the hands of youth that our future lies. So with this objective, Young Thinkers Forum was kind of established in the year 2018. We have had several national level conclaves called Young Thinker Conclave. The first one was held in 2018, and we have had 4 editions of these conclaves, 2 of course online mode due to the COVID pandemic. And in the similar lines, last year when the Israel and Gaza conflict was going on, we got in touch with very wonderful Anaji, who kind of allowed us to have a webinar last year, I think in the month of May 2021, wherein we got the opportunity to listen to the views by Kobe sir's predecessor, Mr. Yaqub, who shared with us a lot of insights about that ongoing conflict. And we also got in touch during that webinar itself with Captain Lily Rees, who was reporting or who connected with us live from the battlegrounds of Tel Aviv. So post this discussion, post this webinar, Young Thinkers Forum proactively took a bit of research work to understand and proceed on the lines which were kind of deliberated in the webinar. And upon several discussions which we have had with the consulate office and the newly acquired friends from Israel, we got to know that India and Israel across the history has got so many parallels. And 3 books particularly which relate to the theme of today's discussion were recommended by our friends from Israel. The first one was Startup Nation. The next one was Thou Shalt Innovate, which by the way, the title itself is inspired by the ancient Jewish faith. And the third one was Weapons Wizard. Now, because much has been said about the drone technology and we all get to read about it in the newspaper, apart from defense technologies, when we went through all these 3 books in a go, and Young Thinker Forum, by the way, every weekend, every Sundays we are having book discussions, and we have started out by discussing the book centered around Israel. So we have started off with a Weapons Wizard. This time we are going to review Startup Nation or Thou Shalt Innovate, and we shall carry out reviewing more such Israeli works which reflect all the parallels. So when we went on to proceed and find parallels between India and Israel, we found that both India and Israel share a very ancient civilization. Not just the civilizations, our shared past has assimilated a lot of crises, a lot of challenges, not just for 100, 200 years, but for several millennia, I would say. But in the 20th century, it is again not a coincidence that whereas India got independence after almost 2000 years of foreign rules, invasions and something or the other, some sort of turmoil that was taking place in this Bharatvarsh of a sort, Israel also founded its root in the original motherland in the year 1948. So it's just a matter of a few months. India got independence in 47, Israel was founded in 48. And then post-independence, both of the countries kind of had a similar, although I personally believe that Israel underwent a lot of stress, a lot of challenges on multiple fronts. Every decade since its inception, they have fought a war. And by war, I mean serious, horrendous kind of wars of all propositions. Three surrounding countries with which the country shares its border has attacked us for first time, in which Israel came out to be a winner. Then next decade, two countries in which Israel, I think, successfully captured Golden Heights and all the territory. And as the nature of war, and India also shared a lot of wars with its neighboring states. And as the nature of wars got changed and we got exposed to a lot of crisis, Israel proactively took on upfront all the challenges and found very innovative solutions. And not only it found innovative solutions, it went a step ahead to help all the other countries who are in need, who may not have the diplomatic ties. Like for example, Singapore, when it was founded, it got free from Malaysia. I think Israel was the first country who upfront went there and helped to establish Singapore's military. So, and also India's formal ties with Israel, as you can see, 30 years of India-Israel. So formally it started off in 1992, but even before 1992, in multiple wars with Pakistan, Israel has always proactively assisted India in the technology transfer, in the defense technology transfer and so on and so forth. So what is there which kind of gives Israel an upper hand in terms of innovation, in terms of entrepreneurship? From 2015 to 2020, India's top three defense importing countries were Russia, France, of course, assisted by the aircraft deal, and Israel. Israel, historically, along with Russia, has been India's single-handed strategic cooperative country across all 4 or 5 decades of its formal and informal relationship, and it has proactively helped India not just in defense and military aspects, but also in various other aspects of technology. The drip irrigation technology was kind of conceived in Israel. Then they have came up with a lot of advancements like the bags which can effectively keep the grains secure, and you'll find a lot of these in today's talk, and also the books which I have told you. The food packs which can store a large amount of grains, then portable kind of ambulance, a lot of healthcare advancements and all of these technologies. So there is a word called chutzpah, which I would like Kobi sir to mention about, which is kind of synonymous with jugaad, or many people find it offensive. So frugal innovation, reverse engineered innovation as how it is approached in the Ivy League universities. In today's session, we are going to get an enlightening experience on what this chutzpah is and what innovation and entrepreneurship does Israel possesses as of now, and how it can teach India, share the knowledge with the Indian fraternity, so that we can perhaps also try to replicate some, if not all, of the approaches with which we should approach our challenges. So without further ado, I would sincerely request Kobi sir to please come and enlighten all the participants on these nuances. And I'm very happy to state that because Young Thinker Forum has kind of went through 3 books and interacted with a lot of professionals, but now we have got the opportunity and privilege to hear it straight from the horse's mouth. So, Kobi sir, with all due respect, I would sincerely like to invite all the listeners to this session. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for the welcome. Hello, everybody. Thank you, student. I have to say that you mentioned it before, my friend Shri Santosh. In Israel, in Tel Aviv, there is one street under Indian name. The name is, and it's a very, very rich neighborhood, very expensive road. I myself cannot afford to buy there an apartment, no villa, only apartments, extremely expensive. The name of the street is Tagore. That's the name of the street. And not far away, I mean, I'm actually not in a parallel, but actually connecting to this road, there is another road called Albert Einstein. Then in Tel Aviv, and this is a very important place because the University of Tel Aviv is in Einstein, in the corner of Tagore. Then when you want to say something, where we are going to meet, we are going to meet in Tagore. And nobody, and I remember as a child, I always, cannot go to see television after 8 o'clock. My mother said, if you don't want to see, take a book, go to the bed. And I was born in Jerusalem. During the night in Jerusalem, it's around 800 meters above sea level. Here it's 600, I think. It's quite cold during the night, in the winter. And I opened the encyclopedia and read about India, and I read about Rabindranath Tagore. And that was the first time that I heard and learned the name and his legacy. By the way, I don't know if you know, I think there is stories of Rabindranath Tagore in the television right now, translated into Hebrew and to English. And it was very, very nice short story of Rabindranath Tagore. Both of them were Nobel laureates, by the way. Also Rabindranath Tagore and of course Albert Einstein. I'm coming today, I tell you frankly, that's my first time in Madhya Pradesh. And when I'm coming to Rabindranath Tagore in Madhya Pradesh, I don't know why, it reminds me two Indian films. I'm sorry to start with the films, Indian films. One of them is Two States. I don't know if you've heard about the Two States. The lady, she's from Kerala. No? Tamil Nadu? Oh, my mistake, sorry. And he's from Punjab, yes? And they met in Mumbai? Hyderabad. See, from time ago. And I think it's a fantastic film, amazing film, to see the cultural differences between India inside, between the south and the north. And eventually, the love is stronger than anything, and the scenery is beautiful, the songs are beautiful, and I very love this. I think this is one of the top three films in India. The second, which is a little more funny, I have to say, The Three Idiots. And I have to say that first time I saw the film 2 times already. The first time that I saw the film, I was alone at home, and I was laughing. I was alone and started to laugh. It was a fantastic film. I hope that here it's different a little bit because that the film is fantastic. Then, sorry to speak about Indian films. Just give you my short knowledge about Indian films. Today, we mentioned before, Anai, if you can just stand for a second. Anai I call him the ambassador of Israel in Mumbai because in the meeting I said before, we are coming and going. I'm coming with a big love to India, but you have a very good ambassador of India connecting to politics. And today I'm going to speak about politics, and I'm going to speak about economy, and I'm going to speak about water. And if you will have time until the breakfast, I will speak even about other things. No, don't worry. 5:15 I need to go. No, 5:30 I need to go because we have another meeting. And we came with a meeting with the chief minister, and I was visiting one of the most amazing museums that I've seen in my life in Madhya Pradesh. Of course, it's unbelievable. Believe me, unbelievable. One of the top 3. I mean, in the level of the Louvre, I think. And of course, the best one in New York that I like very much. I think that it's amazing. You have to be proud of it. The second thing what I've seen today is caves. Yes.
Sorry that the names is not easy for me, but it's not less than amazing. It's beautiful, and I'm going to come back again to Madhya Pradesh, definitely for a long time, because today it's only one day, but I'll come again. And today the issue is, of course, Israel and India. You mentioned before the 30 years of full diplomatic relations. I was here in 1992. I was sent to India as a young diplomat to our new embassy, because it was not the embassy before. 1992, that's it, 30 years ago, in New Delhi. It was not far away. I don't know if you are from New Delhi, you mentioned before. You know where is Connaught Place in New Delhi?
Yes.
It was not beautiful as today. I was in Delhi 2 months ago. It's beautiful. I was staying in the Imperial Hotel, not far away from the Connaught Place. Our embassy was not in the best. We pay a lot of money, and let's say it was not the best place in New Delhi. And New Delhi was not the best. But after 2 days, I fell in love with the people, with the culture, with the food. I mentioned before that the first time that I ate Indian food was in London in 1988. I was very young, with the blonde hair. No, I was not with the blonde hair, not with the long hair. I was like all the time. But anyway, it was my favorite restaurant. And believe me, I love Indian food, and I know what is the difference between southern food and northern food. Believe me. Don't ask me which one is better, because they promised to me that you will not ask me hard questions. No. Ask me hard question, I don't care. And you can disturb me during the lecture, it's very open mind. You can see here the difference between India and Israel. There is a lot of things big difference between India and Israel, by size. Israel is 9 million people. It's, let's say, a little bit smaller than Mumbai. Not a little bit, smaller than Mumbai. Or bigger than Pune, I don't know. Yeah. All of Israel, yes. And we are a very small country, you can see this is the ratio between India and it's nothing. And we are 9 million today, you are almost 1.4 billion. I don't understand what is the meaning of 1.4. I always say to feed, to give you water, to give you work to 1.4 billion people every day. It's a mission of life. To be a Prime Minister of India, let's say, it's not an easy task. I'm not saying that to be the Prime Minister of Israel is an easy task, but definitely the Prime Minister of India is not a big task. It's a big, huge challenge. But these are the differences. But let's talk about similarities. We are almost the same age. We are younger than you, sorry to say. We were born in 1948, May. You were born in August 1948, 7. Then we are younger, 9 months, that's it. Under British mandate, you are under the British Raj, you call it. I always say, it's not, really, don't tell the Consul General of England if you will be here, but it's not the joke. The British came to India and Israel, make a big mess and run away. And we don't know what to do. Now, the partition plan in India, I know that it split the country into discussion, even today. It was good, it was bad. We need one India, we need Indo-India. It's a big question, the same like in Israel. It was a partition plan that the British, our dear friends, made, ran away to England, and left us with two split communities, minorities. There is a big war. And after the partition, it was dramatic war in India and dramatic war in Israel. My name, I've mentioned it before. My name is Corey, but my real name is Jacob. My uncle died in the war, in this independence war of independence in Israel in 1948. And my father, he came from a right wing. If I need to explain to you what is a right wing in Israel, without insulting anyone, he came from RSS, more or less, very right. He didn't like the British. He thinks that the British needs to leave Israel because it doesn't belong to them. And my mother came from a family which was, in Indian terms, she came from the Congress party. Don't laugh, it happens sometimes. But at that time, like in India, the Congress party, I mean the Israeli Congress party, it's called the Labour Party, was the biggest in Israel. The Prime Minister at that time was Yaron. Our Prime Minister was David Ben-Gurion. He was a tough leader, big party, and my father was in a minority with the left, RSS. And I remember as a child, and I spoke to my dear friends before, I was in a child, the dispute between the families was even when I was grown up. I was born in 1966. And I was sitting in the family gathering and listening to the discussion between my father, that was almost alone, and the family of my mother, that don't like him so much because he came from the right. And I had to choose a side. Which side I'm going to choose? The right, the left, my father, my mother, RSS, GP, INC. Never mind, Israel is a different, the same thing. I tell you what was the connection between my between my father and the family of my mother, which didn't accept him because he came from the right. The common issue was that Israel is above all. And I say here in India, India is above all. If you will understand, doesn't matter if you are from the right, from the left. Whether you like the idea of the partition or don't like the idea of the partition. If you like this leader or not, don't forget that you are from India. And you have to love India like I love India. And I love India. I tell you frankly, I didn't prepare anything. No, I prepared, but I don't know what, I'm speaking, freely, and you can ask me the question. I'm just talking about today and if you want to sleep or to go, it's okay. I'm getting used to it, My kids, when I speak to them about history, they say, it's not interesting. The young generation, it's a big problem. I tell you frankly, I don't know what's happening in India, I know what is happening in Israel. They said, why should I know the history? I open my smartphone, there's a few words, and I know the answer. And I said, who is there, Rabbi Tagore? I said, can you spell the name again? He said, no, you don't know who is there, Rabbi Tagore, and leave it away. No, it's important, because without curiosity, the future of the nation is bad. And I think I know what's happened with my kids. Please read, please listen, please talk to each other, not to fight to each other. Discuss. Said, okay, you cannot accept, and I'm going to say something that probably some of you will not like. And believe me, you don't know if I'm left or right, because I love both of my father and my mother, yes. You will not know. You will know, but don't forget India above all. Then I'll talk about history, we'll talk about cooperation, and we'll talk about the future. And I think that this year, and again, it's open to discussion. We didn't plan anything. We have a very long ancient history, very long, India and Israel. We started to be a Jewish people from the Bible time. It's not there. I was in the cave, I saw this, what is the name of this? Whatever you said. I said, it's impossible. According to the Jewish tradition, the world created almost 6,000 years ago. How come that I was joking, by the way, it's true. According to the Jewish tradition, the world was created 6,000 years ago, which is not good. It's not right. When I see this, all these paintings on the walls, I fully understand it's not right. No, I know before that it's not right. But the ancient history of India and the ancient history of Israel together, for many, many years backward, India without, and mention it, correct me if I'm wrong, I told to India, without to keep your culture and tradition, and I see a lot of ladies with sari, it's not going to be the same India. It's beautiful. You have to keep your tradition. You have to preserve your culture. Because without that you will not be India. You will be a regular country. But we want you to be India because I saw the paintings outside the incubator. And I saw the paintings I bought. I hope that I will get it, the painting that I bought in the tribal museum. You have amazing culture. Keep it. Don't underestimate it. It's beautiful. Beautiful. And I'm very proud to be Israeli, and I'm very proud to be in our culture. But Israel was actually expelled from Israel and spread all over the world, to Europe, to Africa, to Asia, even to India. I don't know if you know that there is quite big community of Indian Jews. Some communities in Israel, and some of them are in Mumbai, in also in the south in Kerala. Most of them came to Israel. Everybody loves them very much. The only problem with them is that they didn't bring good, they brought a good restaurant, but not enough Indian food. Try to push them to bring more. It's expensive, by the way. The restaurant in Israel, the Indian restaurant, is extremely expensive. This is the two bad things that it becomes, but people love very much the Jewish, Indian, and they bring a lot of culture. You mentioned 1948, 1967, we are split, and it was a war against three, you know better than me. No, in 1948 against 7 countries, in 1967 against 3 countries, and we expand our territories, and this is right now under dispute. You can ask me about it if you want. Anyway, that is the situation right now. In 1991, 1 year before the establishment of the relations between India and Israel, it was a Madrid conference, and the Arab state decided to speak to Israel for the first time. And why they decided, and we spoke about why they decided to speak to us. First of all, they understood that we have a power. State without army, without that power, and I'm talking the same thing about India, cannot be economically power, military power, and strength, economic strength can work together. Without that, it will be a problem. And you can see today what's happening in Europe, the same thing. You need to be strong. We need to be strong, and you need to be strong. If you think that you don't have enemies, you're naive. You have enemies. So what? We have enemies as well. And we pay the price for that sometimes. But without to be tough, and this is part of the chutzpah that you mentioned before, I don't care. I assume that some of the people don't like me. First of all, but I know that they have some very good friends. I know that they have friends in the United States. I know that we have friends in Europe. And I know that I have friends in the subcontinent of India. And I believe me, I see the love of the people, and I really appreciate it. I'll tell you a secret. Believe me that you have very good friends in Israel. People in Israel love India very much. I think I will not want to speak about, we have a lot of similarities, even in calendars. We are working according to the lunar calendar. The Christians according to the sun. And of course, your combination of these two, then you are like a bridge between, I guess, your combination, between...
Mostly lunar.
Yeah, but I assume that most of your holidays is according to the lunar, yes? We are working according to the lunar, but we have to admit, the Earth circle
the sun every 365 days, not according to the lunar. We have to face the sometimes that the Jewish make mistakes, but anyway, they compensate the mistakes with additional leap year and with another month. I spoke about, we are the same. 75% we are Jewish. We have 20% of Muslims. Brings challenges. But I tell you frankly, I know that it's not politically correct to say here in India, but we, and I'm not shy to say, we are a Jewish state because we have suffered for many, many years in the Holocaust. We want to defend and to be a house to all Jewish people, Jewish tradition, Jewish heritage. This is a Jewish state, but we have to give a place to any other religions, any rights. And we have to be open to everybody. But still, we are a Jewish state. I know that in India is a little bit not politically correct, but the challenge is here. You have also around 80% of 86?
No, 76.
76, the same thing. Then we are the same. By the way, you see the logo that in Israel with the Indian flag above?
Yes, yes.
I made it. I like very much graphic design. At least applause. If you can move, when we in 1948 Israel suffered, nobody wants to speak to us. Only countries from the world. You can see the map, and eventually there is one before. Never mind. Okay, it was much more. Most of it in 1991, even India, of course, not fully diplomatic relations. Of course, but we had relations with Iran. Right now, today we don't have. And in 1991, after the Madrid conference, we saw a wave of relations. Can you get? And you can see right now most of the map are green. There is two red countries, and we have some gray one. And I think Morocco is already in. No, it's here. It's Libya and Algeria. But we have hidden relations. Of course, Malaysia, Indonesia, we still, of course, Iran, Pakistan. They don't like us. I don't know why. I don't know why they don't like you. Ask me. Anyway, I don't know. Let's talk about numbers for a second. It's important. We are number 7 in unicorns. 9 million people. You know how many unicorns? 17 unicorns. 9 in 2021. Who is number 3? India. And this is shown that you have a fantastic young generation. I assume that 10% of you, maybe 20, they are genius. I assume. 55 unicorns, and it showed the strength of the nation. 33 unicorns in the last 221. Fantastic numbers. Believe me, number 3 in the world, India. Concerning GDP, don't forget we are not compete with India. The GDP of India is amazing. It's pure and it's brilliant. You are number 5 in the world. $2.6 trillion US dollar. By GDP per person, you are because of the population, because of 1.4 billion people, you are number 86 with 1.2 thousand US dollar. Israel GDP is 31 in the world, long behind India, with 355. You can see the size and of course the industry. I will speak about the industry afterwards. But by GDP per person, we are 24 in the world, which is quite good. But we are poor. When I was a child, Israel was a poor country, and we didn't have a choice. We need to fight against our enemies, more or less the same years as you. The war with Pakistan, with Bangladesh, in 1948, of course, with Pakistan, and we don't have enough water. I know that part of your subject is water. I tell you frankly, when I was a child, it was lack of water in Israel. I didn't know what to do. Nobody knows what to do. We more or less the same climate. I know that this year it was a fantastic year with the monsoon. All the lakes are up, everybody is happy. Okay, we can spend water. No, you cannot spend water. You have to preserve water. You have to share water with others. You have to give water to agriculture. You have to find a solution in your incubators how to produce more with less water. How not to spend water for agriculture. You know, I tell you a story about my childhood. When I was child, really it was lack of water in Israel. The government decided you cannot take a shower no more than 7 minutes. Why? You have to save water. You know, don't forget that my mother, my father came from a family that Israel is above all. Remember that, Israel or India above all. My mother, after 5 minutes, she knocked the door of the shower and said, "Kobe, be ready? You have 2 minutes to go." I said, "No, but I'm still shampooing." I said, "I don't care, this is the decision of the government, go out." Discipline. Now, we're talking about, desalination, purification, drip irrigation. You know what is the cheapest, fastest, and easiest way to save water? Responsibility. Don't spend money. Now, I'm not trying to tell you now, take a shower only for 7 minutes like me. Believe me, it's difficult. In the army, it's like 7 minutes, but yeah. Take a shower. Drink water. It's okay. But there is something which is connecting to politics as well, and we've mentioned it before in our pre-meeting. And it's connecting to politics. Water is a question of political issues. Nobody wants to raise. But if I don't have a quotas, low quotas, that above that I have to pay extra, I will not have any intention or any leverage or any, intention to save water, because I'm paying the same thing. You know, I tell you about myself in India. I live in Mumbai, let's say, in a good apartment. You know what? Very good apartment. And a swimming pool outside. I'm not a pool guy. 2 things about it. Why I have to pay the same very low money like people who live in the slums? Why? Why? I have to pay more. Maybe double, but for me it's nothing. I can pay. The second thing, and believe me that I'm not lying, even today, because of my mother, I'm worried for my mother. I tell you a secret, Jewish mother is worse than an Indian mother. They are very tough. And she's, because of saving the water, even today, I have a cleanse in the balcony in Mumbai. I'm doing it with until the hot water comes to the shower, I take it in a bucket and go to put, it doesn't matter, believe me, I don't pay money. The government pay the bills for the water. But it's part of my nature. And I ask you to do the same thing. Save water. Why? Why to save water? First of all, because to give more water, if you are spending in the cities, less to the agriculture. And we'll talk about after the innovation, but I think it's extremely important. Save water, do whatever you do to promote it. This is my contribution, modest contribution to India. Talking about partnerships, and I think that there is several things, and again, without entering into politics, I told you that I came into India in 1992, it was after Indira Gandhi. Probably Indira Gandhi didn't like us so much. I assume she has other interests, which is okay, fair enough with me. But the people liked us for many, many years. Of course, military cooperation, you mentioned it, for drip irrigation, diamonds, it was under radar, it was a lot of cooperations. But she has Indian interest, which is very good. I'm talking about 84. I think she was assassinated, by the way, on this coming Saturday. I'm going to Amritsar to see the Golden Temple. I assume it's part of my dream to be there, and I went there. But since Modi came into power, Prime Minister Modi, in 2014, and after his visit to Israel, the bilateral relations between India and Israel get a fantastic booster. No, not injection, I'm talking about booster. Nobody knows if the booster is good or not. But he gave a booster to the relation, and people love him very much in Israel because of that. Leave the politics aside. And I think that he make a very good things also to India in economic fields. I'll tell you why. Without entering into my eyes is not Center of Excellences. I spoke today to the Chief Minister who would like to revive the Centers of Excellences. I was in several centers. It's agricultural field. Farmers come from far away to these centers, learn the method, bring it back. I was in Nagpur 4 months ago, and I went to see the farmers. I said, okay, Centers of Excellence, okay, I know what is drip irrigation. I know what is plants. I know how it's to, I wanted to be a farmer when I was a child. I was dying to be a farmer. To touch your soul and your foot, barefoot, in a land, if you do it, you understand how nice it is to be a farmer. But I went to the farmers, and they told me one simple thing. Since the Center of Excellence started, our growth became 400% higher. Small things, not big innovation. Just know what to cut some trees, to do something small, the crop become up in the sky. 400% more. Of course, there is a problem of post-harvest and things like that, but there is we would like to share our know-how. We are not competitors, we are complement economies. That's it. I have to tell you a story which I like very much. 2-3 weeks ago, I not me, because it was not my money, but I convinced the Minister of Foreign Affairs to bring a machine to India, free of charge. The idea, and I see a lot of ladies here, breast cancer. The idea is, first of all, go to check yourself, all the time. In the early stages of breast cancer, the machine with a needle, without any surgery, without any hospitalization, without any pain, freeze the infected cell, 10 minutes melt down, after 1 hour, she's at home, 98% of success. 98%. But it's early stages. Do it. Now, it was a big fight between 2 hospitals in Mumbai, JJ Hospital and Tata Hospital. Everyone want the machine. I said, listen, it's extremely expensive machine. I have only one machine. And the Minister of Health told me, okay, which hospital they want to give? I said, I'm not the Minister of Health, you are the Minister of Health, you have to choose. It was a joke, I'm making a lot of jokes all the time. Eventually, we decided to give it to Tata Hospital, fantastic ceremony, and I hope that it will bring, also this is part of our health agreement. I'm very proud of it, but go to check. Early check, same life. Bollywood. I don't like Indian films, no, I like very much better. My favorite actress, you know who is my favorite actress? But don't tell my wife, please. You know Vidya Balan? Yes. She's amazing. She's amazing. Now, I tell you the truth. For many, many weeks, my lecture, I spoke about Vidya Balan. And everybody's laughing, she's amazing, really beautiful and amazing lady, I tell her. Now she invited me, I met her. I took my wife, and I told Vidya Balan the story that all the time in my lecture I'm talking about her. And what I'm going to do now, I cannot say, this is not part of the joke that don't tell my wife she's here, what I'm going to do? And you know what my wife told me at the end of the meeting? Kobe, you have a good taste. Really, she's fantastic. But please don't tell me about no, I'm serious. I'm serious. Bollywood, 3 years, 2 states. By the way, did you see the film Team? Team? Yes? You saw? I think the best with Amitabh Bachchan.
Yes.
You don't see? Who didn't see? Go to see. Fantastic. It's from 1911, I think. Fantastic film. Don't compete with me with Indian films because I know quite well. I love very much. Also, my favorite singer is Shan. You know Shan? He's my friend. And it's not there. Shan. You know Shan? He's my friend. And I called him 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. I asked him, can you make a short clip about Israel? And he said, copy for you. Well, of course, and we make for him. And it was, by the way, do you have Twitter? Yes. Then follow me on Twitter, please. No, I tell you what, I'm reaching the 9,000 people, but I want to reach the 10,000. And ask your family and everybody to come. No, I'm joking. No, I have Twitter, and please join me to the Twitter, but I'm joking. I'm not joking. Anyway, Bollywood would like to make an Indian film between Israel and India. Right now, the script is under, discussion. Every Jew has 2 opinions, and it's not easy. And I assume that every Indian has 4 opinions, and altogether it's 6 opinions. Then we have to eventually find a decision. But water. I speak about water. We have desalination plants here. We have a water attaché in New Delhi. His name is Dr. Asaf Yor. He's one of the top hydrologists in Israel and in the world, I think. And he will come here next week to build up cooperation with Madhya Pradesh, how to manage water in a proper way. Because water, as I told you, people say that I don't have blood in my veins, I have water in my veins. I'm crazy about water, really. The third thing is FTA. Free trade agreement. I hope that it will sign very soon. Yes, it will bring all the cooperation between the states up to it. These are the centers of excellence that we have mentioned. Today we have 29. Please help me. Shri Santosh, with the Chief Minister, to revive the one in here. We have 2 places. Don't ask me names in India because
Morena and Chindwara.
you said so. These are mango, avocado, banana. By the way, why the avocado in India is so expensive? I don't understand. Why is it expensive?
It's produced very expensive.
And you don't like it so much, no? But export, do it. No, leave it. I'm not, leave it. I like very much avocado, and it's expensive, but by the way, when is the time of the mango starts?
So about to start in 1 month. You will see the flowers in the mango tree.
Yes. You have amazing mango. Amazing. Yes. Water, you remember that talking, we were poor, no water. We have to think how to save water. The drip irrigation comes from very simple things. We didn't have water. We have to think how to bring only to the plant the drip. Afterwards, we move into purification. I'm very proud. I told you I'm very proud to be Israeli. First of all, because I was born Israeli. And I have to be proud. And everybody has to be proud in your homeland. But I'm very proud Israeli because today, 50% of the water to agriculture came from recycled water. It's amazing. It's number 1 in the world. Loss of water in the pipelines in most of the countries is around 7%, 10%. Israel 98%. No loss. 8% of loss. That's it. You ask me why? Because we don't have enough water. That's it. We have to find. This is the chutzpah. We need to find solution to everything. And of course, the water desalination. I hope that there is one Israeli company called IDE, and they are going to make also another in Mumbai. Desalination here, it's not worth because they are far away from sea, but I understood that you have, the chief minister told me that you have purification.
Okay.
The water actually brings the purified water into the taps of you don't have, in Bhopal you don't have a problem of water, but agriculture around us, you need more water. And please, this is a very, see what eventually, the split is unbelievable between the water, we can drink the water that, the water that actually reused it's a drinkable. But just psychologically, we don't give it to the taps, we give it to the agriculture only. You can see in our fields, 2 pipelines, one blue and one purple. The purple is recycled water. You can drink it, completely clean. But psychologically, it's only for the agriculture. It's fantastic, I'm very proud of this information, but you need to do the same thing. It's not easy. We are 1.4 with such a scale, we have to finish quickly. Then, I'm not talking about agriculture, don't forget that that's important for me to understand. Today in Israel, only 7.6 people are living in the rural area and they produce the same food because of technology. In India, it's a different story. There is a farmer protest. Don't speak to me about the farmers' protest because I know that they will send me out of here. No. You can ask me, but I have an opinion about it. I think in general, it's a good idea. Solar. You have an amazing industry. I met Guta Madani. You know Guta Madani. 2 weeks ago, we spoke about solar energy and asked me a very hard question. He told me, what do you think is going to be the next stage? And I told him in a very simple way, I think that your Prime Minister decided to bring green hydrogen in front. And this is going to be, within 10 years, the new innovation of India, and you will be leading the world with green hydrogen. Then do the utmost to do that. Israel has some small companies, innovation things, but group like Adani, like Reliance, people who are dealing with solar and energy, fantastic. One more sample that I would like to give, there is a company in Israel that actually, from the waves in the sea, produce electricity. And we made the connection to Adani, and right now it's under pilot, and I hope that it will succeed. The question is, of course, you have to find, we're talking about making India, everybody knows about making India, yes? In order to make India great again, you need energy. And you need another 15-20% more energy to produce more, to do more. And the idea of Prime Minister is fantastic. The green energy is extremely important, and if you will do it in the right way, you will be the leader of the world. Smart thing to do without entering into politics, really. I think there is 2 things that I would like to mention about Prime Minister Modi is the Jal Jeevan mission. I think it makes me so happy to hear about it. And I think it's impossible that states like in India, people don't have a running water in their homes. And the idea of bringing tap water to homes makes me full of happiness. And I think it's extremely important. And the second thing I said, there's something else. I'm agreeing with it. Of course, Medicare, I don't know what is the situation now, but I think it's extremely important. This is the world production. I was in do you know Baba Kalyani? You know Baba Kalyani? He's he has a conglomerate called Bharat Forge. You know Bharat Forge?
Yes.
He's the head of Bharat Forge. And he showed us, and I was with me, presentation of how India lost their seniority in the world production. You need to come back. And he said, listen, we will come back as a leader of the world in production in all materials. And India going to this direction. This is an updated one. 2 months ago, and I correct me if I'm wrong, we have South Korea was above, you are number 6. Because of making India, because of other reasons, you become number 5 in the world. You're in the right direction. Be sure that you are the young generation of India, bring India to number 4, number 3, number 2, number 1, you can do it. Believe in yourself. Okay, this is our strength. Of course, innovation. We are small industry, and we are almost in the end. No, keep it there. So this is important for me because do you know what is flexitarian? Nobody knows what. How many? Can I ask you a personal question? How many vegetarian there are? More or less. Yes, you're vegetarian every day or every. Number one, no, according to it's 30%, something like that. The number one country in the world with vegetarians is by percentage, you know? India. No, it's easy question. In India there is a lot of people who are vegetarians. Second in the world is Israel. No, I know that I'm asking a very, very easy question. No. But the world percentage of vegetarians in the world percentage. In India, is by the way, you know what is the percentage? 33%, more or less. It depends on the state and things like that. In the world, it's 10%. 90%, they are not vegetarians. What are flexitarians? I'm flexitarians. I don't mind to eat alternative protein. I don't mind to eat chicken which is not chicken. Chicken is made by alternative proteins. It's like chicken or like burger. I don't mind. The percentage of vegetarians among the young generation, the Y generation, is 67%. Huge market. Huge market. That's the sign that I need to stop. I suppose. Just finish this sentence, and I think that it's extremely important for me to this point. Israel is the leading country in the world in alternative protein. And you know why? Because in order to produce 1 kilo of beef, you know how much water you need? 70,000 liters of water for 1 kilo of beef. Believe me, check in the Google, it's not a mistake. 17,000 liters for 1 kilo of beef. Only 20% is to produce alternative protein. First of all, you save water. Second thing, you not harm animals. Third, the ozone gas. Third, good markets. 67% of the young generation, they are flexitarians. I'm not among the 67 because I'm not from the young generation, but I'm still flexitarian. And the last, I think that everything is vegetarian. You go down, I think finish, Fauda. You know Fauda? Yes. Everybody knows Fauda? Yes. It's Indian thing. No, it's this way. And they have series, they have good industry, and last lecture, one of the students asked me, can you tell me about 3 books that you read about India? And I get into a black hole. I didn't know what to say. I read a lot of books about India, but I didn't remember the name in English. Then I came prepared today. Don't ask me because I know the answer. But it's fantastic books about India. Tourism, the skies are open. Live. It's not important because we don't have time. I want to leave questions. This is our team. You see a line that we made. My deputy Dalia, our consul Ira, and our economic attaché is Sagi. Please follow me on Twitter. Otherwise, what can I do? I speak too much? No. The jokes are not wrong. You promise not to tell my wife, huh? Now relax. Thank you. Any questions?
I think it now calls for a standing ovation, if you can give. Please. say after this enthusiastic lecture is, I love my India and we all love Israel. And it is I, so I square. Anyways, sir has given us a lot of tips, a lot of insights, but time is not permitting now to go further into this. So very quickly, I would like to call now Pro Chancellor Dr. Siddharth Chaturvedi sir to please give with a vote of thanks to our guest. Can we take that? Okay, fine. Thank you.
Just a very quick question.
No, it's okay, sir.
Okay, my name is Arun and I come from Dr. C. Raman University, one of the campus in Madhya Pradesh in Khandwa. A very straight question. As I said by Anayaji that you have two centers for excellences in Madhya Pradesh. One is in Morena and Chhindwara. Are you having any further plans? Actually, there are issues, three issues very up in my mind is water security, you highlighted a lot. Nutritional security, yes, the Indian population in hinterlands in rural India needs that, and livelihood security. And when I come to livelihood security, it is basically the post-harvest. So, I mean, any dynamic engagement with these institutions, you are having any plans, any thinking? Thank you.
I'm a practical guy. I have to talk, everybody likes to talk, it's okay, but without action, it's nothing. We should do something, but we need cooperation with the government of India and the government of Madhya Pradesh. Today we get a clearance and a green light. We're supposed to send here delegations next week. I would like to see a result. Without a result, it's not good for me. I do it in a very clear way. And we'll come back again to Madhya Pradesh, find out that it's on the right track.
So my question is that you talked about solar energy cooperation as well as COVID-induced entrepreneurs. That innovation has increased in India. So if you relate the two, three things that you have spoken about in your lecture, that COVID has caused a lot of people to become COVID-induced entrepreneurs, which has led to increasing innovation. So my question is that to innovate is different. To innovate is actually somewhere easy, but to market that innovative product becomes difficult. That is why we are facing challenges in our country. So how can you guide us towards marketing? For example, if we see a lot of made in Israel products, but we have almost similar technologies that we refer to as Jugaad in India, but we don't have enough marketing for them. We have very good technologies that we create. Also, when you talk about solar energy, we are leading in the solar energy. We have solar plants in India at number of sites. But what about the waste that if we talk about the 2050, let's say, or 2040, the waste that would be created in India, or for that matter every country that would be focusing on solar energy, the solar panels waste, the e-waste, how to tackle that?
First of all, you're absolutely right. You are a superpower in solar energy, and I think that one of the problems of the solar energy, I don't know if you know or not, is how to preserve, how to preserve the energy, because you can save energy during the daytime, and during the night you don't have sun. The idea is to find an additional technologies to preserve it. Israel, I give you two samples. One, bring solar energy into compressed air and use it during the night. And second thing is the green hydrogen battery that accumulate energy. Then first of all, I tell you frankly, don't try to export. First of all, solve the problem of India suffered in 2-3 months ago the coal problem. We have the emission issue. The climate change is extremely important. But I think that first of all, be sure that you have sufficient energy to add to India. The green energy you already an extra mile, but it has to be a big investment in money and a lot of technology. But you think that you have to bring small technology, that how to preserve and how to do it, and we are in the right scale. Israel is a partner for that. We don't have such a. You saw the solar pillar in the desert, our desert. Most of the southern part of Israel, the energy is coming from solar. You saw the huge building in the photo, I don't know if you remember in the presentation. This is the solution. You have fantastic Adani, Reliance, they are superpower with energy, solar energy. But you have to try to move into the next step, the next accumulation. That's the idea right now. Last one, because we need to.
Yeah, just a small one. I'm Dr. Sudeshna, working on materials. Just sir has told we have 9 center of excellence. So I'm working mainly on defense materials. But right now we are working with other discipline also. So regarding the collaborative research, I don't know whether it's the right forum to ask, but we are very much interested in soft robot for unmanned underwater vehicle. So with your team and delegations, of course with government permissions and all, any research can be officially initiated because already...
Robotics is a huge field.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I have to be frank with you.
Yeah.
That Israel has the technology of robotics and it's okay. I think our strength in a different places. I always speak about my added value, our added value to the world. You need to be excellent. I think that robotics is fantastic.
Soft robotics.
Soft robotics. I think also you need to do something which I think also is on your agenda, to build up an industry of semiconductors. And this is something that the government decided to do, and I think it's the right thing. Now, whether it's going to be digital or analog, it's a question of the government, that's the decision. But India, without having an industry of semiconductor, is not good for the industry. You have to do it. Then I think that this, but it's it's a good question, but you can contact me, I can advise you more.
Thank you.
Honorable Mr. Kobe Shishani, Chancellor RNTU Shri Santosh sir, our friend from Young Thinker Forum, Ashutosh, Shri Vishwas Chauhanji, and all the other dignitaries. I think we've had a superb, engaging, enriching and enlightening session. A big round of applause for this. I have attended a few sessions from different consulates. I have never attended an interesting session like this before. We might have taken you up on your offer of continuing till breakfast because I don't think anybody is ready to go. We would have continued and we had many questions. We covered facets from nationalism to the need for preserving your heritage, feeling the pride for your country, innovation, startup, energy, and all the 360-degree coverage of issues which concern all of us. So it has been a very, very fantastic session. Of course, as a country and as an institution, we look up to Israel for innovation, we look up to Israel for startups, we look up to Israel for being the leader in agriculture despite having the least number of natural resources. We look up to Israel, of course, for defense startups and defense technology. So to that extent, as an institution, we can assure that we are committed to invest our time, resources and energy into furthering this collaboration. I must thank Ashutosh and Anugrah and the Young Thinkers Forum team to actually have initiated this igniting dialogue at our campus. And finally, I think from this session and taking cue from one of your favorite movies, Three Idiots, between India-Israel relation, I think all is well.
I took Kobe to the painting exhibitions around. We called young painters from all over India, women painters, who have painted quite a few good paintings. So he liked two of them. On behalf of the university, we would like to present those paintings to him. You will get his hand. And could you request Vijay to? And this is from a travel painter, by the way. Love you.